USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories. USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories.
But the specific thing with Prime is that it doesn't have the amount of sodium that you need for optimal hydration, specifically with sweat loss.
They're molded.
When 3 of YouTube's biggest stars announced they were teaming up to take on Lunchables, a lot of parents thought they had finally found a fresh answer to the everyday school lunch problem. With massive fan bases and huge influence, the partnership quickly grabbed attention and sparked plenty of excitement across the internet.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Boo.
Feastables Crunch
Yeah!
Everything started in September 2024, when social media exploded after Mr. Beast, KSI, and Logan Paul revealed a surprise project nobody saw coming. The 3 creators introduced Lunchly, a prepackaged meal kit designed to compete directly with Lunchables and its billion-dollar business. They promised a new option that would shake up the food market and give families something different to consider. For anyone who has never seen them before, Lunchables are simple build-your-own lunch kits that usually come with crackers, sliced meat, cheese, a sweet snack, and a small drink.
Pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
The launch also came at what seemed like the perfect time. It happened right before the new school year, when many parents were already searching for quick and easy lunch ideas for their children's lunchboxes. Each Lunchly kit was promoted as including Prime drinks, Feastables chocolate, and ingredients that the founders said were a step above what Lunchables offered. They presented Lunchly as a more convenient option that they believed could also be a healthier choice for families looking for an alternative. The team focused their message on parents who cared about nutrition and wanted an easier lunch option they could feel good about serving their children.
2 grams of sugar.
10 grams of sugar.
7 grams of protein.
9 grams of protein.
To support those claims, the 3 creators even released a comparison video explaining why they believed Lunchly had the advantage over Lunchables. The comparison video kicked things off by taking a close look at the ingredients and explaining why they believed their product stood out. To compare the calories in each product, the video started going through the numbers one by one. But that was also the moment the online conversation really took off. People were not just watching the comparison, they were examining every claim, every graphic, and every detail looking for anything that stood out.
So look at the queso cheese in Lunchly versus whatever that is. Drip versus stick.
I like my cheese drippy, bruh.
This is a Lunchly salsa right here. Look at the consistency, the texture. And this is Lunchables. Look, it's watery. I can't even look at that.
Some viewers believed the presentation made Lunchly seem like the stronger choice, while others argued it felt more like a marketing pitch than a completely neutral side-by-side comparison. That mix of excitement and skepticism quickly spread across social media, and the product was being judged almost as soon as it was introduced. Once people started debating how the comparison was presented, the attention shifted beyond the product itself. Every claim, every ingredient choice, and every comparison point became part of a much bigger discussion about whether Lunchly could truly separate itself from an already crowded market and live up to the expectations surrounding its launch.
You just type in Dan TDM Sweets. There's countless of videos of him eating sweets, promoting sweets to his audience.
While also openly criticizing Lunchables, the creators argued that the product did not meet the standards many parents say they are looking for. The company also added a dedicated section to its official website highlighting its view that Lunchly was a healthier option than Lunchables. Within just a few weeks, Lunchly had already secured shelf space at major grocery chains, including Kroger and Albertsons, across the country. That kind of rollout often takes new food brands much longer to achieve, making the launch stand out even more. Before long, parents were spotting Lunchly sitting right next to the Lunchables they had been buying for years. The excitement spread quickly across social media as creators joined the trend with videos like, "I only ate Lunchly for a week," "Lunchly versus Lunchables," and funny skits inspired by all the attention.
Where was the same energy when Ryan Trahan released sweets? Where was the same energy when FaZe Rog released sweets? Now, I'm not throwing them under the bus.
For a while, everything seemed to be falling into place. The buzz was everywhere, curiosity kept growing, and many parents appeared interested in giving the new product a chance. But there was one problem the trio may not have expected. Not everyone was convinced. As the launch gained attention, some nutrition experts also started sharing their concerns. One of the most talked about responses came from registered dietitian Destiny Moody, a board-certified specialist in sports nutrition and personal trainer, who published an article titled, "Lunchly has really pissed off this dietitian. Here's why." In her article, Moody argued that despite being promoted as a healthier alternative, Lunchly contained roughly 25 to 35% of its calories from saturated fat. She contrasted that with USDA guidance, which recommends about 10% of calories from saturated fat for school lunches. She also wrote that the meal kits provided around 12 to 14% of their calories from added sugars, compared with USDA guidance that school lunches should keep added sugars at 10% of calories or less. Those points quickly became part of the growing online debate surrounding the product. That added even more attention to the growing nutrition debate online. But the conversation became even bigger when Dan TDM, one of YouTube's best-known family-friendly creators with nearly 30 million subscribers, shared his thoughts. He wrote, "This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to young people who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better."
People just hate us. When it comes to Twitter, Twitter is just a cesspool of the most depressed people on this earth.
Coming from a creator known for his family-friendly content and dependable reputation, the comments carried extra weight. Many viewers, including parents who trusted his perspective, paid close attention to what he had to say, and the discussion quickly expanded beyond the product itself. Within hours, his post spread widely across social media, with many supporters backing his message. Some people agreed with his criticism and described the launch as more focused on business than helping fans, leaving comments such as, "None of them are passionate about health towards fans, only their wallets." That reaction made the story feel much bigger than one snack kit. The discussion quickly turned into a wider debate about trust, marketing, and who these creators were really trying to reach. Supporters saw the criticism as proof that people were paying close attention to the product. Critics, on the other hand, argued that the health-focused messaging deserved much more scrutiny. Once the conversation was framed that way online, it kept growing instead of slowing down. Every new video, post, and reaction became part of the same debate. Some viewers focused on the promises behind the brand, while others questioned whether those promises matched the product. That shift made the backlash especially significant because the discussion was no longer just about taste or convenience.
USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories.
It had become a conversation about whether consumers felt they were getting clear information or simply being marketed to. Comments continued pouring in from every direction. Some users wrote, "So disappointing," while others posted, "YouTubers are money hungry these days. I miss the old YouTube." At the same time, Lunchly's supporters pushed back and argued that Dan TDM was not in the best position to make that criticism. One widely shared post said, "Bro wasn't complaining when he was making millions selling Dan TDM merch to young people." Still, the timing could not have been much worse for the Lunchly team. Just as they were building excitement around the launch, one of YouTube's most trusted family-friendly creators had raised concerns that sparked an even bigger debate. Instead of taking a more measured approach to Dan TDM's comments, KSI responded publicly.
It would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories.
And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium,
which is also significantly over the USDA standards.
KSI quote posted Dan TDM's message with a photo of Dan's merchandise and wrote, "Looks like crap to me." The exchange immediately grabbed even more attention and added fresh fuel to the already heated discussion. But KSI did not stop there. He also argued that Dan TDM was being inconsistent, pointing out that Dan had previously promoted LunchPack, a food subscription service aimed at young people, without receiving the same level of criticism. KSI further claimed that Dan had featured other products in past videos that, in KSI's view, also deserved questions about whether they were appropriate for young audiences. That back and forth only made the online debate grow even louder. KSI also pointed to other YouTubers who had released candy and other sweet snacks without facing what he believed was the same level of criticism. He specifically mentioned creators like Ryan Trahan and FaZe Rug, arguing that in his view, their sugary products had not received the same intense scrutiny as Lunchly.
10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars.
Instead of focusing only on whether Lunchly was a good fit for young consumers, KSI's response shifted the conversation toward a bigger question about who should be selling products to younger audiences. He also suggested that some of the backlash was driven by jealousy over the team's success. That change in focus helped the debate spread even faster, because many viewers began seeing it as more than a disagreement about a lunch kit. Some people felt KSI's response showed that the criticism had struck a nerve, while others believed he was simply defending himself and the product. Either way, the exchange made the situation look even more complicated. What started as a discussion about a packaged lunch had now grown into a much wider conversation about public image, marketing, creator responsibility, and how influencer-led brands are presented.
Clear, Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion.
The online community became increasingly divided. One group argued that the backlash had been exaggerated from the beginning, while another believed the concerns deserved serious attention. As the focus continued shifting from the product itself to the creators behind it, the debate surrounding Lunchly only became louder and attracted even more attention. The online community watched the entire exchange play out in real time, and many viewers were not impressed. Some commenters argued that KSI came across as if he believed he had done nothing wrong, while others felt his responses made the disagreement feel even more personal. Some users even claimed KSI seemed to be convincing himself that he was winning the debate. But the back and forth on social media was only the beginning. While attention stayed on the public feud, medical professionals and online commentators started taking a much closer look at Lunchly's claims about being a healthier choice. One of the most notable reviews came from Dr. Mike, a board-certified family medicine physician with nearly 15 million subscribers. He decided to closely examine the product's health-related claims, starting with the one area that matters most for any food product: nutrition. After comparing Lunchly with nutritional standards commonly used for school lunches, Dr. Mike said he identified what he believed was a significant concern, adding another major voice to the growing debate. That only hinted at even bigger developments ahead, and from that point, the conversation began shifting quickly in a whole new direction. But things only got more complicated when Dr. Mike found that despite being promoted as a healthier option, Lunchly appeared to fall short of multiple nutritional standards. That is where the conversation really started to tighten, because once a medical voice entered the discussion, the debate was no longer just about branding or creator drama. It began looking like a question of whether the product could actually stand up to the promises being made around it. For supporters, this kind of scrutiny may have felt unfair, but for critics, it seemed to confirm the concerns they had been voicing all along. And that is exactly why the reaction kept growing, because every new comment made the gap between marketing and public perception feel even wider. At that point, Lunchly was not just dealing with internet noise anymore. It was facing a much more serious conversation about trust, credibility, and whether the claims around it could really hold up under closer review. And it left viewers feeling like they had just watched the final verdict unfold in real time.
Advertised on the side of the bottle, there are 834 milligrams of electrolytes. But what does that mean? It's primarily potassium. It's basically flavored coconut water. That's the number 2 ingredient, is coconut water, and that's where you get a lot of that potassium.
Many people online appeared to agree with Dr. Mike's review, and the comment sections quickly filled with strong reactions. One widely shared comment read, "Lunchly being healthier than Lunchables is like saying drinking 23 beers a week is healthier than drinking 24. Technically, that may be true. That's not a meal, no matter how you look at it. That's feeding your young people with trash." Dr. Mike was not the only medical professional joining the discussion. Dr. Brian Sutterer, a sports medicine physician, also commented on Lunchly's marketing. He noted that the product promoted electrolytes as one of its key selling points and as part of the reason it was presented as an alternative to Lunchables. He then shared a post that quickly spread across social media, writing, "Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day." Dr. Sutterer's comment appeared to suggest that sodium is itself an electrolyte, and that the term electrolytes can sound more appealing in marketing than simply saying sodium. His post sparked another wave of debate as people continued discussing how the product's health messaging was being presented, but instead of responding directly to the scientific points being discussed, Logan Paul replied with a personal insult aimed at Dr. Sutterer in a post on social media. He wrote, "Crazy how even a sports medicine doctor can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium, you idiot." After that exchange, Dr. Sutterer released a full video titled "The Truth About Electrolytes, Prime, and Lunchly."
Element 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 of magnesium. So you compare that with Prime, one has 10 milligrams of sodium, one has 1,000 milligrams of sodium. One has 700 of potassium, 200 of potassium. When you have such extremes in what is being found in these beverages, you have to question what is actually appropriate.
In the video, he explained the basics behind Prime and Lunchly's electrolyte-related marketing, outlined his perspective, and discussed why some viewers had started questioning those claims. He also compared Prime with other drinks on the market, including LMNT, and explained why some viewers believed the emphasis on electrolytes was being pushed especially hard in the marketing. From there, the discussion started growing beyond a simple comparison between products. As more medical professionals and commentators joined the conversation, the launch faced increasing public scrutiny. What had first been presented as a bold creator-backed alternative was now also being examined through the lens of nutrition, advertising, and whether the marketing messages matched the product. That shift helped keep the discussion active across social media. Supporters continued defending the brand, while critics argued the marketing deserved closer examination. For many viewers, the debate became less about the lunch kit itself and more about credibility and trust.
The specific thing with Prime is that it doesn't have the amount of sodium that you need for optimal hydration, specifically with sweat loss.
Every new video, post, and response added another perspective, keeping the story in the spotlight and turning it into one of the biggest creator business debates surrounding a product launch at the time. Some critics also argued that Prime was not performing the way they expected a hydration drink to perform, based on the concerns they were sharing online. Those claims added another layer to the ongoing debate and brought even more scrutiny to the brand's overall marketing message. Dr. Sutterer also argued that, in his view, the larger concern was not just the products themselves, but the way Prime and Lunchly were being marketed. That perspective added another dimension to the growing criticism and kept the discussion moving. Some viewers also argued that the marketing could leave buyers with the wrong impression, adding another point to the growing debate. That put the launch in a difficult position because once public attention shifts from excitement to skepticism, changing the conversation becomes much harder. What began as a major creator-backed product launch was now being analyzed from every angle, with many discussions focusing less on the brand's promises and more on whether the marketing matched the product. Supporters felt the criticism had gone too far, while skeptics believed it reinforced their concerns about how the product was being presented. With opinions so divided, every new video, social media post, and comment kept the story alive. Instead of fading away, the controversy continued to evolve, and many people watched closely to see whether the criticism would die down or continue gaining momentum. Logan Paul's sharp social media posts quickly drew another wave of reactions from across the internet. Many commenters questioned his decision to respond so aggressively to Dr. Sutterer's criticism, arguing that it shifted attention away from the points being discussed. Some online critics also said his response made it seem like he was more focused on defending the brand than addressing the questions being raised about its health-related messaging. Others argued that calling a medical professional an idiot only intensified the debate over how someone promoting a product with health-focused claims should respond to public criticism. Much like the earlier reactions to KSI's exchange with Dan TDM, some viewers accused Logan of focusing on the individual rather than the concerns surrounding the product itself. At the same time, Dr. Sutterer, like Dr. Mike before him, continued encouraging viewers to think carefully about the nutritional claims and marketing surrounding Lunchly. That kept the conversation active and gave people even more to consider before deciding whether the product was right for them. While Lunchly was already facing criticism from some health experts over its marketing, and Logan Paul was receiving backlash from some viewers for his responses to medical professionals, legal issues involving Prime were also drawing attention. One lawsuit filed by Alara Vera alleged that Prime's 12-ounce energy drinks contained between 215 and 225 milligrams of caffeine, which, if accurate, would be higher than the advertised 200 milligrams. The lawsuit claimed that amount was roughly comparable to the caffeine in about 6 cans of Coca-Cola or nearly 2 12-ounce Red Bulls. Critics argued that caffeine at those levels could raise concerns about issues such as anxiety, digestive discomfort, trouble sleeping, and other potential health effects for some people.
Challenge is that it's marketed with professional elite athletes consuming it as this optimal hydration electrolyte beverage that is good for you when you're exercising, good for your health, good for your hydration.
Prime has disputed various claims made against it, and the allegations in the lawsuit had not been established as fact.
They're advertising it like it has these benefits with hydration that simply don't hold up when you look at the science based on the actual electrolyte composition.
It also was not the first legal challenge involving Prime and Logan Paul. A separate class action lawsuit filed in 2023 alleged that one flavor of Prime sports drink contained PFAS, sometimes referred to as forever chemicals. According to the CDC, research in animals has suggested certain PFAS may affect areas such as reproduction, thyroid function, the immune system, and liver function, although those findings do not necessarily predict effects in humans. Even so, those legal disputes would soon be overshadowed by what happened next, after a single YouTube video shifted the conversation in a major way. Rosanna Pansino, the cooking creator with nearly 15 million subscribers, then uploaded her own video comparing Lunchly and Lunchables. As she opened both meal kits for a blind taste test, she said she noticed something unexpected, and that discovery quickly became the center of an entirely new controversy. She described what she found as extremely unpleasant. According to Rosanna, her team had purchased the Lunchly kits directly from a retail store, making the discovery feel even more surprising. That moment quickly caught attention online, because when a creator with an audience that large highlights a possible issue, people tend to look much more closely.
Think that the same beverage that should be used to hydrate elite mixed martial art UFC fighters training and sweating for hours is what you should drink at lunch when you're not sweating. And I think if you think about that, you'll realize that those are very different scenarios that should have very different hydration. And trying to market one thing as being applicable to all that is not good.
Viewers started examining the footage for themselves, comparing screenshots, replaying the clip, and debating whether it was an isolated incident or a sign of a broader problem. The conversation quickly expanded beyond taste and branding, turning into a discussion about quality control, consumer confidence, and how much trust people should place in the product. For Lunchly, that shift mattered because the criticism was now coming from several different directions at once. Between online reactions, debates over health-related messaging, and questions about product quality, the story continued gaining momentum and became increasingly difficult for the brand to move past. Within just a few hours, the clip was spreading rapidly across social media, and the story did not stay limited to one video for long. Other people also began posting photos and videos claiming they had found mold in their own Lunchly meals, sharing their experiences online and adding even more attention to the growing controversy. The timing could hardly have been worse for the brand. Comments quickly flooded social media, with one user joking, "Literally zero quality control on Lunchly. Time to rebrand to Moldly." At the same time, many of MrBeast's supporters defended the product and questioned Rosanna Pansino's video. One commenter wrote, "You are full of crap. You can accelerate the mold growing, which I bet you did for click engagement. I think it's highly likely you placed it with moldy cheese to get clickbait. That's why we didn't see you actually peel back the plastic." Reports also circulated that someone associated with MrBeast's team questioned whether the video had been staged. That sparked another wave of discussion, with Rosanna publicly rejecting those suggestions and asking why her footage was being called fake when multiple other people had already shared posts claiming they had found mold in Lunchly products as well. The debate only grew louder from there. Rosanna also questioned why, if so many similar reports were already appearing online, the focus had shifted toward challenging her credibility instead of discussing the product itself. That message kept the debate going, but her next post drew even more attention. In a follow-up post, she wrote, "A lot of MrBeast fans spread the claim that I was faking the moldy Lunchly video and said I would never post the full clip with no cuts. Well, here you go. I'm sure some people still will not believe this is real, but maybe the dozens of other videos online showing moldy mozzarella cheese and Lunchleys will change their minds." She ended the post with a warning, writing, "Again, please be careful eating these if you have them."
These are molded. This is molded. That's mold. This is not safe, especially like kids that are so young. They may not know what mold looks like, so they might just eat it. We just got them from the store. It says used by December 8th, 2024, and today's date is October 16th. So these are supposed to be good for like another 2 months.
That statement quickly spread across social media and added another wave of discussion surrounding the product and the claims being shared online. The viral video showing a Lunchly kit with mold spread incredibly fast and sparked a wave of concern. Reports indicated that many retailers began checking their inventory more closely, and some stores reportedly removed certain items from shelves as a precaution while they reviewed their stock. Consumer confidence appeared to drop quickly, and for many people, the product quality concerns had a much bigger impact than the earlier social media arguments or expert criticism. In the minds of some parents, Lunchly no longer felt like an exciting new lunch option, but a product they wanted to learn more about before buying. For a brand that had launched only months earlier with major online buzz and celebrity support, that shift in public perception created a significant challenge. especially as some reports suggested retailers were paying closer attention to sales and shelf space. Even then, the story was not over. Toward the end of 2024, confusion started spreading after some shoppers and store employees shared photos of signs labeling certain Lunchly products as discontinued or unavailable. Influencers also posted videos of empty shelves, fueling widespread rumors that the entire brand had been pulled from stores, even as questions continued about what was really happening. The rumors even spread to Reddit, where people started asking whether Lunchly had quietly disappeared for good. One post asked, "Is Lunchly officially gone?" Genuine question. Neither MrBeast, KSI, or Logan Paul have posted about Lunchly lately. Even the Lunchly socials have gone completely silent. They announced a few new products here and there, but nothing for months. I don't really hear anyone talking about it and haven't noticed if it's in more or less stores in my area. That silence led to even more speculation online.
These are molded.
When a brand that launched with so much celebrity attention suddenly becomes much quieter, people often start looking for hidden meaning in every small change. The lack of updates encouraged viewers to come up with their own explanations, and the discussion continued growing across social media. Some people viewed the empty shelves and inactive social media accounts as signs that the brand was facing bigger problems, while others argued there could be more ordinary explanations, such as inventory changes or a slowdown in promotion. Either way, the fact that so many people were asking those questions showed just how much the earlier controversies had shaped public perception of Lunchly. Once public trust starts slipping, even the smallest detail can spark a much bigger rumor online. For Lunchly, the story was no longer just about a rocky launch. It had become a larger question of whether the brand could rebuild its reputation. With that uncertainty hanging over everything, the next wave of discussion became even more intense. Social media quickly filled with jokes and criticism, including comments like, "You can't spell Lunchly without an L." Despite all the speculation, the situation appeared to be more complicated than many of the rumors suggested. There was no public announcement from Lunchly, its founders, KSI, Logan Paul, MrBeast, or regulators such as the FDA stating that the entire brand had been discontinued. Instead, reports indicated that certain Lunchly products or specific SKUs were temporarily marked as inactive or removed from inventory at some retailers. Those changes appeared most often in late 2024 and early 2025, around the time concerns about mold in some products were spreading online. Based on publicly available information, the response appeared to involve specific products or production lots rather than the complete product lineup. Rather than a brand-wide recall, reports indicated that more limited, lot-specific actions were taken to address the affected products, with newer batches later reaching store shelves. When industry analysts took a closer look at the rumors that Lunchly had been discontinued, they found that the situation appeared to be much more limited than many people believed. In many reported cases, only certain Lunchly varieties, such as turkey stackers, were temporarily unavailable or removed from store shelves. Major retailers, including Kroger, were still carrying at least some Lunchly products into mid-2025. That meant while some stores had stopped selling the brand, others continued stocking it months after rumors claimed it had disappeared completely. In many cases, those empty shelves also were not permanent. Some retailers indicated that products marked as discontinued or unavailable were expected to return after inventory updates, safety checks, or new shipments passed quality control. At the same time, even while some physical locations reduced or removed stock, Lunchly products continued appearing through online retailers during that period. Reddit users noticed those mixed signals as well. Many commented that despite very little promotion from the brand, they were still seeing Lunchly appear in stores. One topic came up repeatedly: the price. Several shoppers pointed out that Lunchly often costs noticeably more than Lunchables, with one user saying they had recently seen the kits at a local Aldi priced at nearly $2 more than similar Lunchables options. So while Lunchly appears to have moved past the mold-related controversy, the impact on its public image seemed much harder to shake. Search interest fell sharply after the initial launch and later leveled off, suggesting that the early excitement had faded. A brand that entered the market promising what its founders described as a healthier and better alternative to Lunchables was now often being discussed alongside product quality concerns and ongoing debates about its nutrition claims. As of August 2025, the founders who had been highly active during the launch and the early backlash had also become much quieter about the brand's direction. For many observers, Lunchly became an example of how even enormous online reach cannot guarantee long-term success if consumer confidence starts to slip. The launch had many advantages, including 3 of YouTube's biggest creators, widespread retail distribution, and strong public curiosity from families looking for new lunch options. But as criticism from medical professionals gained attention, reports of mold concerns spread online, and public disagreements with critics continued, the conversation around Lunchly changed dramatically. Even though the brand remained available in at least some markets, many viewers felt its reputation never fully recovered from the wave of controversy that followed its launch. If you stayed with us through this full breakdown of the Lunchly story, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone following the controversy. Drop your thoughts in the comments about how you think everything unfolded, and we'll see you in the next one.